Morning guys, morning Dave, Mark, how you doing? Hope everybody's had a good weekend. What have you all been up to? Let me know in the chat. Just wait for the room to fill up. I am up after Friday. Let me just talk you through what happened. I was long in here. Now, I actually got away with one on Friday because I should have been stopped out, but I actually spammed the close button on this account. I was outside at the time doing some leg raises and I'd been on a run, and I got back and I was trying to get out of my position here as we were going into 15.6 because I saw us hitting 15.6 and I thought there's a good chance we're going to tag 15.6. We might come back down again. I wasn't sure. I didn't have any sort of knowledge that would definitely be happening, but I got out of a scale on my normal account in this area, and I flicked over to my challenge account, and instead of pressing close a certain percentage of the position and taking a scale, for some reason, I don't know why, but my thumb press closed the whole position on the mobile because I was outside, and I managed to get out of all the position at like 1594 or something like that, or 1588, and it did really well for me because obviously my account went up. I was a bit gutted, obviously, that it had happened, but then when I saw this happen, I would have been stopped out there anyway. I think my entry was like in this area here. But as you can see, I made about 80 quid, 84 quid, something like that on this account, which is pretty good, really. I was pretty happy with it because it gives me some back that I didn't get on the Thursday when the ESMA ruling stopped me from making money. So yeah, it was alright. It wasn't the worst mistake I've ever made, let's put it like that. But that was it really, guys. Morning Trender Market. Steve, how you doing? Ian, how you doing? Has everybody had a good weekend? Hope you all saw my little sort of Twitter sort of fallout with that trader skew on Friday. That guy, good God, that guy. He's like the... If anybody knows a story about him, right? He come onto the scene probably about 2 years ago. And when he come onto the scene, he was going after like all of these people who he was saying like are scammers and stuff like that. Similar type of thing to what I'm doing now, but I'm doing it legitimately. He called everybody out, called everybody a scammer, offered everybody on, never offered any sort of like of his own results ever, and then went straight into full on, built his own following up, and then went straight into like talking like he's the oracle of everything to do with trading. Apparently at the time he was like this big oil market maker from Goldman Sachs. He was like, you know, he had the oil market, he had all of the DOMs up and stuff like that, as if he's like trading like millions of pounds accounts and all shit like that. And then all of a sudden he realizes that, oh, maybe I can make more money by scamming people, by selling stupid courses. And my DMs, right, are full of people complaining about his shit that he sells, full of them. Like, he blocked me. Like, he's normally up for a fight, that Adam is, with everybody. When he's calling everybody else out, he's up for a fight with them. But he blocked me like that. Because in one of the tweets what I fired at him, I fired something at him that it would have been impossible for me to know without knowing some of his inner dealings, right? And he didn't like it straight away, shit his pants, and he blocked me, right? So the guy that's normally up for a fight and calling everybody else out, as soon as they get hit with something that could possibly undo what they're doing, blocked, done. See you later. I don't want to talk. I don't want to fight. Because he knows that I've got nothing to fucking lose, right? I'm not selling anything. These gurus, they've got nothing on me. I've never sold anything. I've done everything properly. And if this account falls on its arse, it falls on its arse. I aren't bothered. I've never sold anything. I've never taken a penny off anybody for providing anything in trading. So they can't argue with me back. Because what's the worst that they can say? He tried to throw something at me, right? About 4 or 5 years ago, I was trading on my IG platform, and him being the big trader from Goldman, he come along and he was like, I put a chart out on Twitter, like a 1 minute time frame chart, and he's like, oh, you're not using, he DM'd me like, you're not using volume, are you, on your 1 minute charts for IG? And I was like, yeah, I am. He's like, oh, well, that shit doesn't work. It's not even the proper volume of the market. And I was like, yeah, I know, but when I've back tested through my strategy, at the time I was using like a 1 minute sort of scalping thing with volume. And you know what? I wasn't earning any, I don't think I was earning loads of money, but I wasn't losing loads of money. It was just at that time when I started to turn the corner and started like backtesting stuff rather than just sitting there and trying to hit spam buys and sells, right? And he come along and he's like, no, this is all shit. You're doing it wrong. This volume data is completely wrong. All rubbish. It doesn't mean nothing. Blah de blah. And then he's actually wrong about it, because I've spoken to people since then who are just as into it, and they're like, actually the DAX amount, the amount of volume that IG have for the DAX is substantial enough that you could you could probably get an edge from what you were doing. And I was like, the thing is, I did have an edge. I was making money. I wasn't losing money. So like, this guy come along and told me what I was doing wasn't right, as if he's like the big fucking oracle of everything to do with trading. And then in the next breath, he says to me, do you want to get in on my room, macro hedged, right? So I was like, yeah, I'll come in the room. Never paid for it. Never paid for none of it. He'd give me a free spot in his room. And I think this is what people do to sort of like make other people think that you're in their room, and it's all like, like they've got these good, like not good traders, but they've got these sort of traders that people can see on Twitter interacting with them and stuff, and it makes other people get into their room. But I left after about 3 weeks. They were just talking a load of rubbish all the time about fucking options and all this, and I could see where it was going with him. He was trying to sort of funnel everybody into like getting some money off them, basically. And it does my head in. So I obviously I'm getting these DMs all week, last week and the week before, and then I get a WhatsApp message. Sorry for swearing. I get a WhatsApp message on Friday off somebody taking the piss out of him. Like, they've sent me all the emails that he's sending out. Like, first of all, he opened this course up for 400 people, and it was like, that's it, 400 people. After 400, we're calling it off. It's like the best thing ever with all this DeFi farming shit. So he sells the 400. The next day, oh, magically, we've got another 100 spaces available. We've spoke to everybody in the room, and they're really happy for more people to come and get on board and get involved in this. What a load of bollocks, right? So if you're the 400, you've now got another 100 people coming in, when you were promised that you're only getting around 400 at the start of it. So now the room's grown by 20%, because obviously he's hungry for the money, and he's obviously sold them all and he's making money. So that just tells you what a snake oil salesman he is straight away. He sold that course promising there would be this amount of people in it. The minute that he's hit his maximum sort of sales for it, I'll release another 100. Fuck the people who are already in, the 400 before them. What do they matter? It doesn't matter, I'll just sell another 100. Like, fuck off. It just does my head in. So I called him out. Trader Skew, his name is. Trader Skew. And he's the worst of the worst. He's come on into our thing. He destroyed that Chi Girl. Chi Girl on Twitter, I don't know if you follow her. I think she's a really nice sort, right? Had some DMs of her in the past a long time ago, and she was quite helpful at the time. She wasn't a dick. But he went like really personal with her and started calling her crazy and psychopathic and saying that she's got all mental issues and stuff like that. Like, this guy's the worst of the worst, right? He's not a nice person at all, and that's why I had to go for him, because he's a fucking idiot, and I don't like him. I don't like his personality. I don't like his persona. And how he come on to everybody about 4 or 5 years ago was by calling out everybody, and now he's the worst one out there. He's the fucking worst one out there. This big oil market maker who suddenly found that all of these crypto people will give him money for talking rubbish. Like, he's quit all the oil market making stuff now. Like, if you're the big oil market maker and you're doing, you're like he said, you're making thousands of pounds every day and making out he's this fucking big time ledge. Why would you be bothered? And now he's selling crypto courses for £500 because he knows the easy money's there. And it just does my head in. Complete scam. Have a look at the back and forth on Twitter between me and him. I've got nothing to hide. He tried to call me out for like saying the volume bars were wrong and stuff like that. Like, who gives a fuck about that? I was getting an edge out of it. So what I'm saying to you is, all these dicks on Twitter that are making out to these big time traders and stuff like that, if they try and call you out for something when you're doing alright and making money, because at the time it did actually knock me back. I was thinking to myself at the time for about 2 weeks, like, oh god, like, this mustn't be like right. I'm gonna do my arse if this is all like whatever. I've put a lot of effort into making that strategy at the time. This must be like, and it actually stopped me. I actually stopped trading for 2 weeks and was trying to figure out like, and I thought to myself, this guy's a fucking idiot at the time, and I never did anything about it at the time, because at the time I didn't really have I don't think I had the account size, because at the time he had about 70,000 followers on Twitter. But this is another thing, right? His last account was called Dollar Fire. He brought 70,000 Twitter followers. So in 1 week he went from like 1,000 or 800 to like 70,000. He brought all of them. All of them. So you could look at his interactions for his tweets, right? He's getting like 2 replies on his old account. He got 70,000 followers. He's just a complete scam. Scam man, completely. But he's got in his profile he used to work for Goldman. So you know what? We've seen this before. They all prey on it. It's like, what was he making the teas in the back room? Like, where's your trading record from, Goldman? Like, I'd have that across the top of my site. You know, I speak to my mate, a trading sort of friend, Mikos. I keep saying he's a friend, but I hope he thinks I'm his friend. But I don't want to jump the gun, right? But he's got his cumulative profit chart from when he started in prop to now today. Why is that Adam not got it on? Because he's probably not made any money. He's a douchebag, and I will call them out all day because I've got nothing to lose. And if it saves one person from paying him any money, my job's done. He's a complete fraud, man, and it drives me mad. So yeah, that's the rant for this morning, guys. But just be so careful out there because the rabbit hole runs deep with this fool. Like, they all circle jerk each other off, and he's got certain pals who have got like big Twitter accounts, and he's like, it's all a big circle jerk. It's like, oh yeah, I'll come on yours, I'll take some course fees off that, I'll pay you some of this, I'll pay you some of that, and they're all getting the palms, like, dollars put in the palms from it. It's all just the biggest circle jerk you've ever seen. But because I aren't in that, and I've never done that, then at the end of the day, they can't call me out for anything. None of them have ever traded live. None of them. 0. So I feel like I can call these people out, and they don't like it. They do not like it one bit, because they're the ones that are used to like thinking that they can. And you know what his reply was to me? This is what a smarmball he is, right? Have fun back in the cheap seats. Have fun back in the cheap seats. Does he even know my lifestyle? Does he know what I've done or how much capital I might have? Have fun in the cheap seats, right? Okay, mate. Well, no worries. But at the end of the day, you don't know that I know people who know you quite well, who've been texting me behind your back. I know where you live. I know where your house is, and you're not exactly living in a castle yourself, pal. Like, that's the problem. And he's saying to me, like, have fun in the cheap seats, so I'll just leave it there. But he needs to realise that most of his inner circle are the ones that are messaging me, telling me what a dick he is, which is hilarious. It's amazing, because he doesn't realise that. But he's like, have fun in the cheap seats, buddy. All right, mate, you're living in a castle, aren't you? I know where you live. I've seen your whole setup. Not bad. And I've got to stick up for everybody. I've got to stick up for everybody, and if I can stop 1 or 2 people, the good thing about it is, right, I have had 2 or 3 people who've messaged me this weekend saying, do you know what, I was thinking about going for that course. I was going to go for that other 100. Like, to be part of that other 100, it stopped me. So at the end of the day, my work's done, I'm happy. I'm completely happy with it. And do you know what, if I see somebody else that's coming out and scamming somebody, I will be all over them as well. All over them. Because it's not right. And they're just scamming people. I've had somebody else who's messaged me saying they've been promised that they'd make like a certain amount of percentage or something from DeFi farming, and since they've joined up and brought the course, they've made $10 from it. $10. They do my head in their head. They do. They drive me mad because none of them like are willing to ever put the freaking, like I said to somebody the other day, it's so good for me to see that people, rather than talking the talk and walk the walk, I appreciate that more than anything. And I said that to somebody on Friday in a message, and he's done that with me, and I'm so happy for that, because it opens the other side of it up, the positive side, that you can see somebody who's prepared not just to talk the talk, but to walk the walk. And I'm not talking about something what I'm doing here with that's not it. This guy's walking the walk with a huge account every day, and it's just amazing to see. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I think there should be more of that and less of this freaking shit that everybody's up to, where they're just after your money. Walk the walk, let's get it done. Let's walk the walk. Let's do it properly. What's going on here now? I've got a YouTube error coming up. Let me just go over and see what's going on. I think we might be back again. I think I had a little wobble there, guys. Sorry. Is everything okay with the stream, guys? Just let me know. I think it's gone a bit haywire again for some reason. I don't know why. I am on my Mac, which is odd. Hopefully it'll come back right again. I think it is doing, hopefully. Can you let me know if the stream's good? If not, I'll have to cancel it and come back. Are we good, guys? Still okay, thanks, Steve. Yeah, Mark. I want to live in a world, right, where people is this stupid of me? Well, I want to live in a world where big traders, and I'm not talking about me here, right, because I don't class myself as being a big trader. I aren't. But I want to live in a world where we get people like Mikos, let's say, my friend, right? Can't tell you his real name, but that isn't it. I want to live in a world where people like him are trading in front of people live, and are then willing to, like, they're the people that you should be paying for education. They're the people that you should be, like, if Nav, you know, said to me, do you want to come and learn? I would pay to go and learn with him and see what he's seen. It's the same with my mate Mikos, and it's the same with Tom Dante, right? He can make money, Tom can. He can. Verified money. I know that because I've been told by various people. He's told me a million times, by the way, but I've been told by other various people that Tom can make money. You know, with in big size as well, right? Verified. Like, that's my honest... I'm telling you, that's the truth. He can. Where Tom is now, though, he doesn't want to do it. He's not interested. He's not interested in coming on and you know, like, he's not got the not the patience, but not got the energy at the moment to come on and have big risk on, you know, and do it live and that in front of a, you know, like, he's just feeling like he's a bit burnt out, and he's done it for the last 15 years of his life, hasn't he? So he's due a break, and I think he's just having a break and getting himself sort of regenerated again. But Tom can make money, big money live, and he's willing to do it live. And I think people should be like that. We need more people like that. Less people selling courses who can't prove it, who can't even prove that they're trading at the moment, and more people who are willing to step out live and do it live, not with $3,000, but with bigger amounts of money. And I think it would be a massive thing. It'd be good. It'd be fantastic for everybody to see. Because nobody ever sees it, do they? I agree, Trader Hedged. I think that's what's going on with Tom at the moment. I think that's what maybe like what Tom's suffering from. You know, like, why would he come on Edges for Ledges and have to deal with like 70 or 100 people, or however much the amount of people would be, and trade live when he's actually, you know, like, he's got a decent sized account that he's trading anyway. He's obviously doing all right. So you can understand why they don't. And it probably is the people that aren't doing it are trying to sell you something for that reason, really. But I have to call it out. I can't let it go. And if he comes back and he does anything back, then fair enough. I'll just the guy's got nothing on me. So, you know, I've never sold anything. I've never said I'm the trading oracle. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But he has done some good stuff, that Adam has. This is the other half of it, right? He's the guy that caught Astro FX out for that dealer login. So I do have to sort of thank him for that, right? Because I would have never known that. I think what's happened with him is he's just realised that the easy money is in selling people courses, and he's got this Goldman thing that he can put on his the top of his account, and it brings a lot of sales in for him. But I just wished he was honest about it, and he would say, like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. It's the easy money. But here's my record from Goldman, and here's my record at the moment. I am still trading myself at the moment. I aren't paying a trader, which I think he is doing. Like, he's apparently, I've heard he's paying a trader his macro hedge stuff to actually trade for him. So he isn't actually the one who's trading. So I've heard by somebody that's pretty close to him. So I thank him for that, but I just wish they were honest about it. That's my whole thing. Just be honest about it, right? If you're struggling that you can't trade, you don't want to put the risk on anymore. You might have just gone past that point in your life. That's fine. But just be honest about it. But that's never going to happen, is it? Trader hedged. It's not happening. Steve, absolutely great point. Great point. That is what it needs. If you're selling a trading course or any education of any type ever, you should have some sort of regulation certificate. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And I'm going to start reporting these people. Don't want to be a grass or anything like that, because I'm not a grass or anything like that. Never have been all my life. But these people who are blatantly obvious scamming people, I think they should be reported. It's wrong. It isn't right. There should be some sort of, you should have to pass some tests. You should have to have some certificate. Whether or not you should have to provide like a certain return of an account over 6 months or a year or something like that, where you can then start educating people or something. I don't know how it would work, or if you had to, because you could go and, a lot of these people could go and sit an exam, couldn't they? But then it still doesn't mean that they can make money. I would want to see 12 months really off somebody. 12 months of trading a live account with a certain amount of money in it. And then, you've got to have hit certain risk requirements and stuff like that. So you can't have someone that's gone like 90% down on the account and then gone all the way back up to, like, you have to hit certain risk parameters so that it shows that you're just in control all the time of what you're doing. But it's just because it's like the Wild West out there, and since crypto's come along, it's all gone crazy. Crypto has. That's what's happened really. Crypto skewed it massively for everybody, because you've got people, and this is the maddest thing ever, right? So people will be thinking to themselves like, oh, like, you've only made 10% since you started this account off. Yeah, right. I've made 180% on a crypto call that I've made, and you've made 10% off on your account. But this is what's happened, and this is like the discussion that me and Tom had about it. Crypto skewed everything, and it's like you're getting all these people in here who've like made one trade and made 200% on a long that they've had, but it doesn't mean that they can trade in any way. And like, I'm not looking forward to the day when it all gets wiped out and like a lot of people lose the money, because that would be it's not something that I want to sort of think about, because it's sort of like a negative. You're wishing a negative on everybody, and I get no positive from that. But the day will come eventually when crypto firms up and it becomes more of a tradable asset, and that's when people will start doing their arse in it. It's more like a gambler's thing at the moment, isn't it? Because the swings are so big, and if you just get on a swing and you can hold for a few days, you can make huge percentage of like, huge percentage gains on your account. But it doesn't mean that you can trade. It doesn't, and it will mean it's the same as in '99 when everybody thought that they could trade and people were quitting the jobs and giving their careers up to go and trade because they just thought that it was easy. Everything just goes up every day. But it doesn't, and eventually you'll give all that back and more back, and you'll do your arse. And I don't wish that on anybody though, but that is normally what happens. So it's one of them. The crypto stuff will all die eventually, I'm sure it will. And people like this who are selling all these courses to people, with crypto, hopefully I'm hoping that they're the ones that get wiped out. The circle jerk you mention has become a major issue on Twitter. Even with some people, you thought I had a bit more integrity. Exactly, Mark. Exactly. And they're just all after the easy money. That's what it boils down to. They've realised that it's way easier to sell a subscription for £70 a month, and they could get 100 people in very quickly, than actually trading their own money. And by the way, none of them have ever verified that they can trade. That's the thing. That's the problem that I've got with it. If they had a live account, or they had their own results published, like where you could see with an accredited broker, wasn't MT4, which is all lined up, and they put their own personal results on and stuff like that, I would not have a problem with it. I honestly would not have a problem with it. I think I'd be like, follow these guys, buy their course. Pay for their monthly subscription. Like, they're walking the walk. They ain't just talking the talk. They're doing it. But nobody does. And that's how you know it's a scam, because if it wasn't It would be your main sales point, wouldn't it? It's like if you sold cars, right, and every car that you'd ever brought never broke down, you would have that plastered on every single one of your adverts. Think about it logically from a sales perspective, a marketing perspective. If you could actually trade and you were selling trading courses, you would have your broker accredited statements and all of it linked up to your marketing picture where people could go in, they could have a look at it, they could see everything, all the figures, the entries, the exits, every day, every week, every month, the years that you've been trading, and they'd be like, fucking hell, this is awesome, this guy can trade, there you go, credit card details straight in. I want him to like, I want to be in his room, I want to see what he's seeing, but it never happens, and that's the reason. And that's it. People can't deal with risk there, that's the problem. So a lot of people can trade, but they don't like dealing with risk. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't pay for trading education, right? People should. There is people out there that can trade and will educate you. I'm not saying people have to learn from somewhere, and if they're not grasping it from YouTube and they've been around the block for years and years, it might be worth you getting a mentor. It might be like that Angela Ablett, right? She's been into different trading rooms and she agrees that she needs a mentor. You probably do. I'm not saying that you don't. If you're struggling and you've been at it for years and years and years, you might just need somebody that can put the hand on your shoulder and just say, look, just come and watch me for a month or two, or come and sit with me for a day or 2 days. Come down to my office and sit with me. Let's go through what you're doing wrong, and I'll show you me putting risk on. Do you know who did that with me? Tom Dante did that with me. That's what he offered me. Right? I didn't pay him for it. Just was good friends with him at the time, but he was willing to do that. Now, at the end of the day, that's what you need a mentor for. They're the types of things that you need somebody to mentor you with, not showing you like plans or whatever, or like selling you courses of stuff where if you need a mentor, you just want somebody that can trade half the time. You just want somebody that can actually trade, that can actually walk the walk, and you just want to go there and touch base with them, or have a phone call with them, or speak to them on Zoom or something like that. And it's like, like this guy's doing it. Like I need to just obviously not do what he does, because that would be his strategy or whatever, but just by being around that person and realising like I'm doing things slightly wrong here and being a bit of a dick every day, like I need to knuckle down, and this guy's, like I look at Mikos, right, and how when I speak to him, the guy lives for trading, he lives for it, he lives for it, he's like a machine gun every day. He's like 15 grand long oil, 20 grand on this, like he's massive. I say he's massive compared to me, but he's massive into everything every day. Doesn't bat an eyelid. You speak to him when you're on the phone to him, and he's like, he's got his kids. His kids are running around outside, why he's trading, because he's trading from home at the moment, not in his office where his prop firm is. And it's like, I couldn't do that. Like if my lad was running around screaming, I'd be like, Henry, shut up. Like I've got risk on here, it's driving me mad. But when you see these people who are legitimately proper ledge traders, it opens your own mind up to where you need to be. Like, and I'm thankful that I have touched base with this guy and Tom as well, because obviously they let you know what's possible. And it's like, I'm not like Mikos yet. I couldn't do what he does yet. He's been doing this for I think nearly 20 years, right, with various prop firms and stuff like that, with big risk on every day. Now, how he approaches that market with the big risk on and stuff like that to me is like the next level. Now, I don't know. Hopefully, I can still make money, but he's the next level really for me. And that's like, when you see that, that's where you need to be, and that's what you start pushing for. It's like being a Division 2 football club, innit, and playing a Premier League club. When you play them, in the game that they're probably just a level above you, and as a young person, somebody that's like not there yet, it pushes you on, doesn't it? It makes you feel like it's possible. Now, I think that's all you need. You just need somebody that you can speak to, and you can realise that yes, it's possible. Like you can do this. You can get there. And I think that's the best thing that you can do. So yeah, I enjoy. Just putting it out there. That's where I was on Friday with it all anyway. So it's one of them. It's gonna keep going on, and it's keep gonna happening. At the end of the day, I don't think Twitter's the worst place for it though. Twitter's terrible. I don't think anybody on Twitter ever publishes anything that they do, and I don't know why. I really don't know why, because it'd be the best marketing tactic ever, wouldn't it? Like, I can trade. Is that what ICT stands for? Or does he stand for I can't trade, by the way? Because that guy's never proved it. He's another one. He's another moron. You know, like, he's got thousands of followers he has. He's never traded in his life. He's completely demo. But people love it. They love it. They queue up for it. It's just insane. It's unbelievable. And he's got people that the problem with him is if you have a go at him, he's got like nearly 20 accounts that will come straight back at you and call you out for being like an idiot for not following him. And it's like they believe the hype. But I ain't even going for him. I can't even be asked of all the shit that you get back and all of the stupid accounts that he makes up to try and like aggravate you back. But he is the worst. I honestly think though, if you're following him and you believe in all of that stuff, I think you're beyond help. I think you've gone past, you're way past the point of anybody like rationally telling you that he's an idiot. So I just think you're gone. You are proper gone at that point. There's no point me even trying to point it out at that point. You are way gone. Twitter's full of experts. I love Twitter, right? It's so amazing. Like if there's ever a thing in the world where, you know, like the virus, and then all of a sudden everybody's a virus expert. And it's the same with trading. People just become experts overnight by the amount of followers that they've got. I'm sure of it. It's like, right, okay, got 1,000 followers, I'm a trading expert. Got 1,000 followers, I'm a political expert. Like the oil crisis, when oil went to zero, everybody was all of a sudden like oil tanker experts. It's just unbelievable. At the moment, everybody's a supply chain expert on Twitter. It's like, it's just amazing for that. Everybody just thinks they're an expert about everything. Vaccine experts everywhere. It's unbelievable. Right, Aaron, yeah, I'm not even getting near that dude. I'm not even getting near that dude, Aaron. I'm not even calling him out. He's an absolute psychopath. I've watched some of his shit that somebody sends me, and it's like, he's loose. I think, though, I don't know if he's legit or not. I really don't. I think he's an absolute psychopath though. But he's going after people like I am too, really, in a good way. But I don't know if he's because he's selling something, isn't he? That thing that he sells, Algo Box, is it? Now, like, this is what I can't get my head around, and I just legitimately can't get my head around it. Algo Box, right? If it's doing as well as what it is, what would you be willing to sell it to somebody? I don't know. He blocked you when you asked a technical question. Yeah, he's an absolute lunatic, so got to be very careful around him. He goes after Adam though, so I'm on his side really. I think he means well, but I just don't know if he's legit. I don't know. So I think he means well, but is he legit? I don't know. Who knows? But he's gone after Adam a few times. But right, so he went after Adam, right, for ages. Trader Skew, we're talking about here. But Trader Skew's still selling 500 courses to sheep. So has it worked? Has any of it been worth it? I think he spent weeks and weeks and weeks trying to like argue back and forth with him on Twitter. I think at the end of the day, has it made probably him more followers? This is the thing. You know, this is the argument that you can have. Like, what's the point? Like, the people that are gonna go there and buy the courses off these people will do it anyway, because they're just sheep basically. It's like the ICT crowd, isn't it? You can go and point out that ICT is an absolute, he's never traded in his whole life, and he's just basically like the returns that he made on that account when he said he took up to 5 million. If that wasn't the broker login, like, he'd be the richest guy in the world, wouldn't he, if he could do that? You know, like, you'd be on 5 million quid every 3 or 4 months. Because why wouldn't you be doing that if you could do that? So yeah. And the problem that you've got is, like I said, what's the point in calling out? Because the people will go there anyway. I don't know if he did, you know. I know that Tom does speak to him, though. I know that Tom does speak to that Vinny guy. I know that he does. Now, I don't know in what sense or how, if they're like good mates or anything like that. I've never, when I've been speaking to Tom or anything like that, I've never sort of like been out with him. Like, he lives in America, that, but from what I've seen, he's a lunatic. But if he's calling scammers out, then fair play to him. But I'll go box. If it was legit, would you be willing to hand over the keys to the castle to other people and show? I don't know. Didn't Trader Skew make some charity claim too? You know, be good and give to charity to be. Yes, he did, Mark. He did. And you know what? He realised that that was the right thing to do after what Tom did, because Tom did it legitimately. This is what a good guy Tom is, right? You know his Edges for Ledges course? Do you know how much money it made? It made a shitload of money. And he had donated it, every single penny of it, to them freaking to that small town in Italy that was hit by COVID dead hard. The guy's got a plaque up with his name on in the city hall of the town that it is, in like the mayor's hall. Seriously. Now I know what Trader Skew's done there. He's looked at that and thought, right, that thing went really good for Tom, didn't it? Look how much leverage he got there with all of the accounts that were following. Look at what like an angel he looked like. I fancy a bit of that myself. It's obvious. Aaron, what have you learned from him then? Tell me. The odd thing is I've learned things from about 3 con traders. Tell me, Aaron. Let's know. I'm interested. Because same as say you can learn stuff off people like that, probably. Learn what not to do. I don't know. Let me know. I'm interested. No, not Mark Minervani. Do you know what though, WB? I think that Mark Minervani can trade. I'm in the camp that Mark Minervani can trade. And I don't mind people paying him for education. Why? Because if you look, I think he's up like £1 million on a stock account. Now, yeah, he's a bit of an arsehole by the looks of it. You know, I think he put that picture out yesterday of him sat in his Lambo saying F you to the trolls. But I think that guy's getting trolled, and I think he can walk the walk. He can. Like, the guy's a proper trader. I think that you'd be way better. Like, the guy's an arse, obviously. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't seem like the nicest of characters, because he's always like. But maybe that's because he's getting trolled so much by these. Because if you look at who's trolling him as well, it's always like these crypto people, or like these people who probably. Mark Minervani's probably traded more risk in a day than like these people have traded all their lives, and they're calling him out for being an idiot or a scammer or something like that. But the guy has walked the walk for years, and if you look at his account this year, like he's up way more than most people, and also he's doing it with massive amounts of money as well. So I would suggest he can walk the walk. Mark Minervani, he's one of them that I would suggest. Yes, he's probably an arse, but what traders that are big size and trading well, and you know, I can imagine most of them are a bit crazy in a way. But I would say that Mark Minervani does know what he's talking about. And I think if you want to trade stocks, I don't think he trades much else, but I think if you want to trade the big US stocks and you want to make money and you want to get into that, I think he'd be quite a good person to get into. I would probably recommend him, because at least he's publishing his results. So I think he's probably all right. I'd much prefer people like him that have been there with big risk on, proving it that they can still do it and are still doing it and are showing you the live results still, than somebody that's like hiding behind these video courses with never proved nothing. Harry McKenna, what are your thoughts on Action Futures or Merit Black from S&B Cap? I thought it might be better to learn from real prop guys instead of a Twitter trader lot. Yeah, do you know what? Action Futures and Merit. I think Angela's been in Action Futures room. I've been in there. I've never paid them for anything though, but I think they did like a free trial for a week, and I had a go at it about 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, and I think that's where I saw Angela, by the way. I think she was doing that as well. Now she says they're good, actually. I think the Merit Black can trade, definitely. You definitely can. But whether or not the markets that they trade and how they look at the markets is something that you want to do, Harry. You might not like that type of trading. It's all very sort of like news released on the DOM. You've got to have like a lot of the order flow stuff up and stuff like that. So I would only say go down that route if that's something that your personality, like you want to do that. You want to go into that style of trading, because I'm telling you now, it's not for everybody. That you've got to be a certain type of minded trader to be on the DOM and be you'd be able to process that information, because actually trade on sort of like the ECB news releases, FOMC, stuff like that. They're very into sort of like that news release order flow and getting edges from that, and the oil markets and how they move and how they all correlate together. So if that's something that you want to go down, pal, then do it. Definitely, I would suggest that would be a good thing to go and do it. I know it costs a bit of money, but I don't think Angela regret it, and she paid for it, I think. But I would just say to Harry, like, sort of exhaust all the other avenues first of all. Exhaust them all, because you might find that you can find some edge. So for me, right, how I was thinking was, can you prove to yourself that you have any edge? Like, if you can't prove to yourself that there's any edge anywhere in the markets, then maybe you do need to go into one of these prop firms and stuff like that and start to think about how they think about the markets and stuff like that. But can you just backtest a strategy where you come up with some edge? Like, find a niche in a market that you look at, and it might mean that you're only making 2 trades a week, or 1 trade a week, or even 1 trade every 2 weeks. But is there any edge in the markets that you can see? Because trading's all about edge, really. And I find that once you've got an edge, it all becomes a lot easier. Then it just becomes about executing it properly. Now, once you've got an edge, I don't know if you need to go to Action Futures or anything like that. A lot of it sort of follows after that point, and you can sort of become a profitable trader, really, off your own back. But you need an edge. Even when you go to these prop firms, they won't give you an edge. They very rarely hand you an edge and say, right, this is a strategy that makes money. They still don't give you that. So they'll be giving you the processes for gaining an edge yourself, but they won't hand feed you an edge. They just won't do it, not from what I've seen. They might do if you've been in there for, you're on the desk maybe, and you've been, you're part of the firm, then you might, you obviously you're going to get edges off the other people you sat with or whatever. But if you just go in to learn or whatever, they'll give you the processes to find an edge. That's what they're going to do. They're going to teach you how they sort of see the markets, how they set it up into context and a bias, and then they're going to try and get you to fish for an edge out of that yourself. But I would suggest you can do that yourself if you put the hard work in. But you're only going to do that by backtesting and setting up certain context and biases in the market and going through it and sitting there and putting the hard work in. It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months to find an edge, but you'll find one. You will find one. So I would say, Harry, exhaust all of those possibilities first of all, because the markets are always going to be here, dude. So, if you got $5,000 or, that you're willing to throw at education or go into Actua or something, I don't know how much that costs, but I would just keep that $5,000 and don't trade. Find an edge first. Get yourself an edge. If that helps anybody. Aaron makes a good point. You can pick useful bits of strategy up. This is what you have to do as a trader. You have to go and sort of pick things up off everybody that you see, and sort of like the things that resonate with you, put them into, see if you can make anything from them in the way you see the markets, and if they don't, throw them out the window and onto the next one. You currently have an edge, but you feel like it's systematic so that it will fail over time compared to these guys who are more subjective. Well, that's where you need somebody. That's where you need somebody that can look into it for you, Harry. The thing is, if you've got an edge though, Harry, right? you will see if you trade and it's mechanical. You will see if it's you will see if it starts to not work. That doesn't mean that you have to trade it to zero. You still have to be flexible with that. Like, I know people who trade mechanical strategies properly, and they have no problem of just taking a week or a month off and turning them off for a bit if they feel like they just stopped working. You have to be there's no sort of rule which says that if you trade in a mechanical strategy and it's doing well, you have to go to zero with it. Like, you should have sort of risk parameters built in really with it, I think, where if you go into a certain drawdown, you've got to have a look at what's going on in the market, and can you make a change? Is it worth making a change? Do you think that off the previous loss sequences that you've seen previously that this is just par for the course? I'd imagine it probably will be. I've seen some mechanical edges lose 20. I had one that lost 26 or 27 trades on the bounce, by the way, that still made money at the end of the year. So you got to be careful. This is the mindset that, like, people put into the negative side of mindset psychology, where you think that something's not going to work. Well, Harry, every business can fail. Whatever anybody's doing can fail. Even the discretionary traders can fail. There's no sort of there's no 100% sort of. The longevity of any trader isn't guaranteed, is it? No matter what they're doing, whether it's mechanical, discretionary, whether it's you're in a prop firm, it doesn't mean that you're going to make money forever with what you're doing. I would suggest that there's no guarantees, right? And if you're looking for that type of guarantee, I just don't think it's out there. Even with a mechanical system, it will make you think that there's just the wrong time, it's not working. But this is why you have to backtest. This is why you have to have the data collected. So maybe going to somebody that can backtest what you're seeing. Or if you're not comfortable going with somebody and paying for it, like mechanical trading systems, I think he'd probably do something like that for you on Twitter. If you're not comfortable with telling him your strategy, maybe try and work out how to do that yourself. But I would suggest that you should probably maybe spend a little bit of money on that, trying to develop an edge mechanically yourself and having a look at it, and getting somebody like him that can just have a quick look at it for you. I agree with mechanical trading systems, exactly what he said there. Elite traders are not likely to teach. I've this is the thing, right? I've said to my mate Mikos, like, why don't you come onto Twitter and just blow them all out of the water? Because you are legitimately trading huge size and you've done it for 20 years, right? He's not really interested, really. Why would he be? I don't know. Will he probably do it one day? Well, I hope he would, because it would clean up the sewer, the swamp that we're in. And maybe that's what we need, more legitimate traders that are doing stuff like that. But do you know what? I don't think any of them want to. Because they look at Twitter as being a swamp themselves. I think they think that they'd lose their own credibility by doing stuff like that off of them. Morning, Angela. Angela's in the room. So she says that Aksha trade mainly futures. They are big on volume profile and market profile, etc., as well as price ladder and candlestick analysis. So best place for a comprehensive all-round education. I think that if you're backtesting, you can get some edge. Try and trade your own edge perfectly. And if you can't trade your own edge profitably, and there's a profit there, I would suggest if you can make it mechanical, try and make it mechanical and have it operating like an algo, because that might help you. But I would suggest that if you lack the discipline to trade your own strategy properly, and that it's got an edge, then whatever Aksha teacher isn't going to work, because you're still the problem. So does that make sense to everybody? If you can't trade your own edge profitably, and you have an edge, you've back tested it properly, you know you have edge, and you still can't trade it profitably, I would suggest that go into Action or go into any sort of trading educator is probably the wrong thing to do, because it's the discipline that you lack. I don't know if they can teach you that discipline, because at the end of the day, unless you're going to go down to their office and sit with them, and you're not going to be able to act like a bit of a dick on your computer or on your account, you will still make the same mistakes. And that comes down from your own self, really, not trusting yourself, messing with things when you shouldn't be messing with them, stuff like that. So one thing is having an edge, and two things is being able to execute it right. WB just makes that same point there. You know, he's just said the same. Edge is one thing and execution is another. It takes time to perfect execution of the edge. It does, absolutely. But I don't think that prop firms give you an edge. You know, from the educational side, they'll give you the way to set an edge up and try and find your own edge. But I don't think they will actually give you like an edge. I think you're still gonna have to do that work yourself. So I would suggest getting an edge yourself first, and then trying to trade it profitably yourself, and then you've not spent any money or had any cost to anything. It just comes from putting in the work, that does, and sitting there with basically a spreadsheet and going through the charts. No trade for me here yet, guys. Right, so so there you go, right? Angela makes a good point there. So she's been to Action, who are all about volume profile, order flow, that type of stuff, but she uses candlesticks. Mark Wogan says Brian Watt, his vids are great. He's as mad as a hatter. Oh, hey, Mikos is in the room. Bloody hell, that's my stomach rumbling. Elite traders don't teach, but they do build prop desks and take a 20% cut. Right, so there you go. So that's why they're not bothered about education, because they're taking a 20% cut on the prop desk. Nice work if you can get it, mate. Have 20 guys trade for you, all making money. That's a process and a skill in itself, and you end up trading the traders, if that makes sense. Exactly. Their P&L becomes a product that you trade. That's awesome. Demo trade, you have an edge but struggle with executing it, but I'm working on it. How are you struggling though, demo trader? What are you struggling with your execution size? What's the main gremlin that you're coming up against that's catching you out? Is it something that you're doing every day wrong, or is it like a various is it various different things, basically? So like one might be moving your stop too soon, one might be, like you might be taking profits too quickly. Like is it lots of things, or is it just one thing that you're struggling with? I don't know if you've seen Tom Dante's Demon Finder, but that's quite a good little thing for that. I think he's got it on his site. And if you put the Demon Finder up, you can see where you're letting yourself down, and you sort of honestly take a look at it at the end of the week. And you sort of like can see exactly what you've been wrong, because I think as well, when you're a trader, you forget so quickly, especially when you're trading, what mistakes you've made the week before, because you're constantly looking at the markets, and it's so easy to forget what you've done poorly over the last week or two, and a new trade comes along, and before you know it, you've made the same mistake again. But if you have something that's like reminding you of like you keep making this mistake, it's a massive problem. Like, why would you not sort that out if it's in front of you the whole time? Like if you've got something in front of you that says you are doing this mistake over and over and over again, and you keep making the same mistake, like, I don't know, you basically at that point, I just think you might as well just stop trading, because the one thing that you know, like, this is your business, this is how you make money, this is your bread and butter, isn't it? Like, and why would you keep doing that to yourself at the end of the day? Then that becomes a problem that you've got that isn't trading related. It's more of a personal problem, and you will end up doing yourself in with those types of problems. You've got to get them out of your trading, and you've got to be honest with yourself, basically. Hi Nick. No, I did. I hit the DAX on that pivot that it set up later on in the day, mate. On Friday. In here. So, there's my IB. There. By the way, did everybody see that there as well? That low of the day candle trap. What a beautiful trade that was again there. Told you, there's definitely edge there. I hit it in here. And I spammed myself out here like an idiot, but it actually helped me out on this account. By the way, right guys, as well, I would have moved my stop to break even there. I know I say I would have done it at 2L, but I am a little bit flexible with it. There is no chance, if I was watching it like I was, if I wasn't watching it then I would have been stopped out, obviously. But there is no chance, with this stop being so small here, that I wouldn't have thought that my stop was going to get tickled looking at this here. So I would have moved my stop up and hit a break even there. I wouldn't have let my stop get hit, because I think my stop was teeny when I got in the market. It was a really small size, and when you're seeing this come off, especially after it tagged 15.6, I would have moved my stop to break even as well, so I wouldn't have taken the loss on it. You still have to be a little bit flexible if you can, and sometimes it helps you and sometimes it costs you. But over time, I think 11 years into my trading journey, I think that I can sort of work out the points with my strategy where I'm more likely to, to sort of take a break even, take a scratch out, and not give the market my money back, basically. So that was me. I was in that tight consolidation. You got out break even, did you? I actually made money on it, Nick. Yeah, made money on that like an idiot. I spammed myself out of it on my mobile, as I told everybody first thing. IG's mobile app's really crap, to be fair. They make it so difficult to sort of scale out of a trade. So it's on another tab. So you have like the screen here. And on the platform, this is how it confuses you. On the platform, when you're in a trade, if you go to close your position and press close, it gives you the option to scale out of your trade. On the mobile platform, if you press close your trade, it just closes the whole lot there and then. So obviously you get used to being on the platform all week, and you're scaling out by pressing close, and then it gives you the option to scale out. But then obviously, because I hadn't been trading on my mobile all week, I was actually outside doing some bloody leg raises at the time, trying to not look at it because I thought this thing could really go. So as it goes into like 1585, 1590, I'm thinking to myself, right, okay, alert went off, I need to take a scale. Because we could be hitting 15.6, and I wanted to take a small scale off at that point. And just because I thought, at 15.6, big number, it's Friday, I thought we could rotate back from that, and it just happened. But I closed the whole position out by accident because I was on my mobile, which actually helped me because I made more money than I should have. But I was due some back from the day before, wasn't I? Because obviously they did me on the ESMA ruling with that position. So maybe that was just the trading gods looking out for me on this account. I'm still struggling with execution. It blows my mind sometimes. So look. Ed's run out of demon finders. Yeah, well that's the main thing, right? If you can see that you're struggling with something, so look, then don't do it again. Do not do it again. And I know that's me just like putting it out there, and it's like the old cliche, like, well, don't do it again. But seriously, just don't do it again. Don't do it again. So you got to stick to your strategy. You really have. You got to have the discipline to not be looking at stuff all the time and taking other trades that you shouldn't be in and stuff like that. It's the only way. The only way that you will ever become profitable long term is by doing that. So, if you're doing it, you really have got to stop it and nick it in the bud. Lack of discipline is a massive thing, and it shows up in various different spots of people's trading. But you really have got to sort it out, guys. And I'm not trying to bloody tell you what to do or anything like that, but any lack of discipline in trading, if you've got a strategy that makes money, any lack of discipline, you really have got to be careful with what you're doing. Because one day down the road, it will catch you out in a big way. As I've said, poor discipline, it will lead to blow-ups. That's just the first step. So if you're moving, you start taking profits to it, it's all part of bad trading. And I always try and nip it in the bud. The first point, the easiest point to nip in the bud is when it first happens and you've done it. But if you start going down the route, poor trading leads to poor trading. I say this to everybody all the time. It leads to ruin. The minute that you go off course and you don't come back to where you should be on that day and realise that you made a big mistake, you just carry on down that path and you get worse and worse and worse and worse. And the mistakes eventually will unravel you. You'll have a day where all of those poor mistakes, those poor disciplines that you've been doing over the last 2, 3 months, 6 months, they will catch you out in a big way on a day. And they're the days where your account is 30% down or 50% down, because discipline, it's like you have to stay on the straight and narrow with it. The minute that you don't, bad things are coming eventually. So don't just look at it as being like something that's happening in a day. Look at what could potentially happen down the line with it for 3 months, 6 months on. If you're getting influenced by others' ideas, then don't look at other people's ideas, demo trader. I don't take anybody's opinion on the markets. I really don't. I do struggle with it though myself, right? And it tends to happen when I think these guys are obviously bigger traders than me, professional traders than me, and it sort of knocks me off what I'm doing. You're only human to think that like they're doing better than you, or because they are probably, but it doesn't mean that their opinion should alter what you're doing in any way. And I find just having a break, 3 or 4 day break, or take yourself out of the market and get back to what you're doing. Stay in your lane. Giving back what you make is part of trading though, demo trader, as well, right? Giving back what you've made is just part of trading. You just don't see that on Twitter. You don't see it. You do not see that part of it. Nobody shows that part of it. And that's why you're frustrated, because you're thinking to yourself that it's not happening to anybody else. But it is happening to everybody. Mikos, the guy in this room before, he was massively down this month. With the type of figures that would make most people be underneath the desk, stuck in the fun, crying. But he's here, he's smashing it, he's back up, he's back into the green. I see this and I think it's inspirational for me. But let me just tell you, people are losing the money. So don't think that it's not happening, because it is happening out there. Giving back is part of trading. There's no guarantee that if you're up for the month or week, that your strategy, even if you execute it perfectly, won't put you into drawdown. It's just part of it. But this is the thing about Twitter. Nobody ever shows this happening. Nobody ever comes out at the end of a week on Twitter and says, you know what? I've done my arse this week, I'm 6% down, or I'm 4% down, or I'm 10% down. These are the things that you don't hear on Twitter. So you come on Twitter, you've done your arse, you give back, but you probably traded right. And then you're coming out on Twitter and all you can see is everybody winning. And the frustration that you're feeling is what you're seeing visually with what you're experiencing yourself. So you're on Twitter and you're seeing everybody making money, but you're experiencing, you've had a shit week and you've lost money. Twitter's the worst thing in the world, I think, for people that trade, because nobody ever admits to losing money ever. It's a sad sort of. It's just how it is. But don't get. My point to you, demo trader, is don't get frustrated. Losing money Losing trades, losing money is part of trading. You've seen me on here last week, 2 weeks ago, losing money, giving back. I went up to 3.4 and took it back down to 3.07 or 3.04. It sucked. Doing it live in front of other people. So it does happen. People give money back. But I would suggest that if you're following your strategy and your execution is good, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It only matters if you're the one that's causing the losses by executing poorly. Then there's a problem there, right? Then you've got to fix it. What is my Twitter? I think it's just my name. Mark Heath Maller. Get me on. Have you blown accounts when starting out, Dave? Yes. Seriously. I've blown loads. I've blown loads, mate. Loads. Absolutely loads. I started off trading the FTSE long when the Libya oil crisis come out in 2011 when Gaddafi got bombed by the French and the British that night. That was the week. I think it was not. I just started anyway with a live account. I did my arse. I think I lost £1,000 in the first week. And then I think I got 500 of it back. And then I stopped because I was like, I do not know what the fuck I'm doing. This is crazy. I think my first punt on FTSE was £20 a point long. £20 a point long on the FTSE for my first ever trade. What an absolute retard. It's just so ridiculous, it's unbelievable. 20 quid a point long. Doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't even know what's going on. 20 quid a point long. I don't even think I put a stop in. I don't even think I knew what a stop loss was. It's ridiculous. So yeah, we've all been there. Have you done something, Dave? What's happened with you? Have you done anything crazy? If you can't get comfortable with loss, you shouldn't be trading. Exactly. That's the thing, right? You have to be... But you're only comfortable, I find, with loss if you're trading your execution is right. I become slightly uncomfortable with loss if I know that I've slipped my execution up. Then I've got a problem that I've got to sort out straight away. And if I don't sort it out straight away, it's like, right, well, you've got to have a break. You need a 3 or 4 day break and come back and get your head right. Oh, right, trend the market. Kim, is that Kim? Last name begins with K, doesn't it? Peter Traders. Yeah, £20 a point. Sucked. Absolutely the worst thing I've ever done. I don't know about that, Kim. I think it's a name like... It's not Kim Kardashian, is it? It's like Kim Krampus or something. Kim Krampus? It's not Kim Kardashian. I don't know. I really don't know. They post the pip counts. I don't know. I really don't know. This is the thing. I really don't know. I just don't know. I couldn't tell you whether she's legit or not, but I have seen her out there. I do know who you're talking about. I'm fine with doing my risk, but I just totally blow up sometimes. Eddie and Eddie, let's just point this out, right? Sorry to point this out. You are not fine with doing your risk if you totally blow up sometimes, right? That's it. I'm sorry to call you out on that, right? But you can't say in one sentence that you were fine with your risk, but then in the next sentence saying you blow up sometimes, because that means you aren't fine with risk. Do you understand? I'm sorry to point that out to you like that, because I don't want to come across as it being like I'm being like a dick or something, because I aren't. I'm just trying to help you. But if you're blowing up your accounts, you are not right with your risk. Something with your risk is wrong. Now, that might mean that you're basically saying that some days, some weeks, you're fine with your risk, but then on certain days you blow up. But you're blowing up because your risk isn't right. You've gone into some sort of mental state where you can't be tamed. Your personality is going for, the one that needs to make that money back, and then your risk snowballs. Yeah? You wouldn't be doing your accounts if you're in control of your risk, bud. It doesn't make sense. No, it definitely doesn't make sense. I'm just trying to help you anyway, mate. Let's just say like this, though, Ed. This is something that I can hopefully help you with, right? Get smaller. Take the money out of your account. If you're blowing up in big ways on certain days, just take the money out of your account. Let's say you've got, I don't know your account size, right? But let's say you've got $5,000 into a trading account. I'll show you on this account here, right? So I've got $3,000 in this account. I don't need to have the $3,000 in the account. I don't. I just need to, let's say I need to trade with £3 a point on average, or £4 a point on average. We can go over here and we can put in £3 a point. And let's just put a stop in, an average stop. Let's just say, right. So let's just say, with $3,000, you don't need 3,000 in your account. Let's just say you need the maximum that IG is saying in this account you would need to trade with £3 a point is 2,300. So just put the 2,300 in, and then that will stop you at certain points trying to get bigger when you shouldn't be and stuff like that. Have the minimum in your account. You can always put more money in there if you lose a little bit of money that you have got in your account that gives you the margin that you need. It all comes down to risk reward trading, does. All of it, every single bit of it does, and that's what tends to happen when people blow up. Like they just don't want to admit that they've had a bad day or a bad week, and they try and win it back by gambling more. I don't think I've ever say it before. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that will do their accounting trading 0.5% risk. I think it's impossible. If you're willing to stick to risk every day, 1%, 0.5%, I would have to say that even probably the worst trader in the world would never blow his account up. If he just put like some sort of discretionary risk reward on his trades where he just took 2 or 3 to 1, I don't think you'd ever blow your account up, even if you're just flipping a coin every day. I think it would be impossible. The only reason that traders blow up is because they risk too much. Or they don't keep to the risk reward. Like they'll take profits off at 1, and then the market will go to the 2 or 3 that they were expecting. It's all down to risk reward. You're fine with your risk, you just completely explode every now and again. Do you, Sierra? Do you? Is this you, or are you just are you having a bit of fun? Mikos has lost 60k in a day. You know what? And that ledge would just be fine. Just like get up the next day, trade everything fine. Get up the next day and start trying to freaking trade postage stamps or weather patterns or something like that. Just a ledge. 50k US dollars first 3 trading days this month. Yes. Right, so that's where you need to be, guys. This is the levels that's out there. Watch someone lose 1.5 million in 10 minutes. What the hell was that on, Mikos? Was that on the Swissy? What was that on? 1.5 million in 10 minutes is just like, that's it, I'm done. I'll see you later, I'm done. I think that would be the end of me. That February 1997. Yeah, I thought that might have been the SMB day, Nick. That's what my first thoughts are. Was it, Mikos? Was that the SMB day when that guy lost 1.5 million in 10 minutes? Yeah, SMB floor going awful. That would have been horrendous. I love how I'm the biggest loser in Cleveland. Aaron. Yeah, Aaron, I think you've even done Mikos, mate, on the biggest loss. Aaron's lost 75 grand, by the way, on the DAX in a day, if everybody wants to just hear that. But do you know what? I appreciate him putting that out there because it's something that you hear of with a lot of people. So, yeah, well done. And he's still here. What a ledge. Mikos, he ended up 3.5 million that day. Does that mean 3.5 million down or up? Oh, up. Sorry, couldn't read it. Jesus Christ. See, that's the sign of the real trader, that. If I've done 1.5 million in the morning, I ain't coming back in the afternoon to make 3.5 million. No chance. I'm done. I I would probably go for a walk in the woods with my revolver. Lucas wasn't even born when Mikos started in the markets. Oh God. Yeah. Lucas, you're a young gun, are you? Good for you. It's good. It's good to have the younger generation involved. Good for you, mate. Dax isn't doing nothing for me, guys. 0. So there you go, guys. Right? It's not all sunshine and rainbows, is it, out there? Even Mikos is saying in his journey he found it really difficult. He'd be able to make money and then give it all back. That's still you, Aaron. Does that Aaron, does that come from poor execution though, or what? What does it come from? If you're making money and then giving money back, there's got to be something there that you can look at trigger wise. You'll have some triggers somewhere that you can delve into. Like, is your strategy making money? If you got a mechanical strategy, Aaron, are you discretionary? Have you back tested what you're doing? Is it making money every week, every month? This is like a therapy group this morning. Yeah, it's good, Sierra, it's good. I am enjoying it, to be fair. It's nice to hear everybody else's stories. This is about this is what I want this sort of video sort of diary to be about, really, keeping it real. Not like Twitter where nobody ever posts the losses. I would be up more money than anyone on the desk in the first month, and by the third month I'd be stopped out. Then had to wait another 3 months before you could trade again. Why is that though? Why did you have to do that, Mikos? Was that because they stopped you? Did they have like a buffer on there where they said like, you can't, you're done? Why did you have to wait 3 months again? Just wondering why. Discretionary scalping. That's what Aaron's doing, or was doing. It seems to be a build-up for frustration. I'm a super chilled person generally, but grinding slow action tends to drive me mad. So that's a trigger for you, Aaron, right? So don't trade when it's grinding slow action. Go and do something else. So you're discretionary sort of getting into trades, and then you'll let them run, right? It's similar to what I used to be doing, that is. So you've just said what the problem is, Aaron, in a nutshell. Super chilled guy, obviously got some sort of talent because you're making money, but then on grinding slow action days, they don't drive you mad and you end up giving back or blowing up. Take yourself out of the grinding slow action days. Don't trade them. And I know that sounds like really easy to say, but have something that you can build that's going to give you a trigger where you get in on the days where it's just looks like it could be a day where you're going to get movement. And don't do that. Don't get into the market. Do something else with your day. Go and enjoy your day. You don't have to be this trader that sits in front of the screen every day. If the market conditions aren't there where you're most likely to make money, then don't trade. Go do something else. Too much times at the screen is a killer, especially if you're scalping. In my opinion, it becomes really tough because it just becomes so tempting, doesn't it? Because there's always another setup in there. And I think but as a trader, right, you've got to also be your business manager as well. And it's like if you've got a burger van and a burger business, to make it dead simple, right? Are you going to put your burger van on a road where nobody's there or driving past? You're not, are you? You're not going to go and put it in the Peak District where nobody's there next to a field. You're going to put it on the busiest street at the busiest time because you're going to get more trade. You're going to make more money. And it's the same with trading. Trading is a business. If you've got a strategy and you find that you trip yourself up on the days where it's the market conditions aren't there to suit your personality and your strategy, don't trade them days. Keep out of them. Go and do something else. That's what I'll say to you, if that can help you in any way. You don't have to trade every day. You have to trade on the days when you're most likely to make money. You don't have to trade every day. Trade on the days when you're most likely to make money. And you will get one wrong. You will think, oh, this doesn't look like the great day, I'm going to have the day off. And oh, I could have made money that day. But having the discipline to do that will keep you out of the loss. Like, it will save you more money by saving you losses than it will by affecting your winning days. Right, so you got a 6-month limit, have you? Interesting. It says a 6-month limit once you do your horse in prop. Mikos plays online chess. Yeah, anything else if the market isn't doing it, you really have got to have the discipline to not get in. That's why I have the initial balance though, guys. That is the reason I use the IB. That is the reason. If the market's inside its IB, and spent a large time of the morning inside its IB, unless you get a clean break and the market picks up as it goes through that break and the pace picks up, I am not interested. Not interested in the slightest. I won't even sit and watch it. It's just not for me. Like, my day is not this day. It's not my strategy. I do not make money on these days. I'm likely to do my arse. So keep the hell out of the market. And you could use anything. You could use a moving average. You could use a VWAP if it's in, like the angle of it. There's all types of things that can give you the days when like the market's actually making a sort of decent move. But as traders, we want to sit here. We want to be in front of the screen. We think that we have to be in front of the screen being this trader. You don't. You just have to trade the right days. Day types, for your personality and your strategy is the most important thing. It's easier to spot the days as well when you're not likely to make money than it is to spot the days when you are likely to make money, for me. So what I did was, the days where I was not likely to make money, they're dead easy to spot for me. Why? Because they're inside the IB. So look, most Saturdays I sit in front of my trading log and seeing how my returns would be if I had just followed my strategy and let price run to target or stop. Quite painful. That's the only way that you're going to break that habit. What I would do though, so look, is I would have that on top of my screen. So if you've got your previous weeks or previous months worth of results where you've tripped yourself up by messing with it, I would have that on my screen at all times. And every time I needed to click to get out of my position or thought I was doing the right thing, I would have it right in front of me, saying like, you are being a complete arse by doing this. You are costing yourself money. What the hell are you doing? And you've got to give yourself that reminder. So have it on your screen, have it right in front of you. Those results. Or, so look, if you can make it mechanical, get an algo. Run an algo to take you out of the market. So be all discretionary, but have an algo set up that takes you out of the market. So you can't mess with your profits. And you can't, you don't, keep getting out of the position and not letting your position run to target. So last week you were break even instead of 6R up. And that was taking trades. So you interfered with them. It's a massive problem, that is, pal. You've got to stop it. You've got to come up with a way to sort of not do that. And it sounds dead simple for me to do. To say, just say like, oh, you've got to stop it. You really have got to stop that. 6 are up, the break even. It's a big thing. And what'll start happening is all sorts of other ill disciplines will start showing up once you accept that you're an undisciplined trader. You can't accept that. You've got to have a word with yourself. Because it leads to more bad trading. Poor trading leads to more poor trading. Yeah, Bullanox, maybe there's an edge there. I don't know, mate. I that's not something that I've ever really backtested for or anything like that, but potentially there is. I don't know. You have a look at it, pal, and see if you think there's an edge there. It's good to see some of you connecting with each other, though, and I hope that you can all help each other. It's good. Seems to me that everybody has this. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not the perfect trader myself. I ain't. I have discipline problems as well. But you've got to nip them in the bud. Something that you're doing, you need to nip them in the bud as soon as possible. But they still show up for me, right? I'm not some trading oracle. I still have discipline problems myself. I think last Friday or the Friday before I'd cost myself money when I shouldn't have. Last week my execution was good though, all week apart from spamming it on Friday. But my actual execution of entry and exiting the market was good. It was really good. The week before it wasn't great. You've just got to get back to doing the right thing as soon as possible. Everybody's making some fantastic points, by the way. It's really good to see everybody else's side of the story. It's interesting. I don't think it's ever possible to really master trading though. Like to be a master, I think you'll always have some sorts of problems somewhere down the line. I think you've just got to nip them in the bud as soon as possible. I'm sort of getting on about people that have been doing the same sort of thing for weeks and weeks and months now. Like if that's been happening, then you have got a problem. But everybody can have a little bit of an undisciplined day now and again, where you might have taken profits a little bit too soon, or the thing that I never do though is I never risk too much. That's the good thing about me as a trader, right? The one thing that I can tell everybody, I will never risk too much, ever. Never. It just doesn't even enter into my head ever to do that. That will never happen. I would say that that's it's impossible, because I am always in control of my position size every single trade. So that's the one good thing about me as a trader, and I think that's probably why I'm profitable, really. I am never risking too much, ever. Like if it's 1% of my account, it is 1% of my account on every single trade. Now, yes, I still do other little stupid things, like I will take profits too soon, I will scale out of a position too soon. I have issues like that, but for me, the risk side is always concrete. Always. It's never been the risk, and I think that's probably why I'm still around. So my discipline isn't with position size and risk. That is the one thing that I have got absolutely sorted. It just doesn't even ever enter into my head. I can't see the point in it from a business perspective. And I think this is where having other sort of businesses in the past has sort of helped me so much, because it's like, well, it's just, why would you do that? It's like paying like $5,000 too much for a car, isn't it? Losing like a massive percentage of your account in a day by risking too much. It's like, this is just not what you do. But I still have other issues all the time with scaling out too quickly. Like maybe moving a stop if I'm going through a bad period, stuff like that. They all happen. The problem is though is your risk, right? If you're not right with your risk, then that's when big problems that can happen. Yeah, so that's the thing. Mikos and Sierra make a good story. The guy who was shorting the euro for ages kept adding and ended up going into his personal accounts, cards, etc. Sierra, I remember that. Did it turn as well just as he got stopped out? Yeah, just after he gave up, it went his way. It's awful. That's the key. Risk, isn't it? With everything, risk is the key. If you're willing to just keep throwing money away and risking too much, you will just keep losing money. That was always going to happen though, Sierra, that. Just as he liquidated, the trend would turn and shit the bed without him. It is normally what happens, isn't it? Getting into debt to trade is as bad as a gambling problem, definitely. But that's the problem though, isn't it, right? So Tom at the end said, imagine if he would have taken one more loan. But that's the unknowable, isn't it? And that's what the market does to people. It frustrates you. It always finds your weak point. The market will always get your weak point. It will find it. It will always seek it out. And it does with me all the time. If you're not willing to let your trade run and you move your stop to break even too quickly, it will come back and stop you out, and then it will make its move. And it's like that guy with the euro, right? He's one more loan and he would have banked and made all of his money. But he didn't. It found his weak spot. It always does. And this is what I'm saying to you about poor trading. Eventually, it will find you and it will lay you down and take your account out. Poor trading leads to poor trading. Now, that guy, even though he was wrong, even though he was proved right, he was totally wrong. Totally wrong. Way too much risk. And it's found him and it's hung him out to dry, and that's what happens. It always finds your weak point, the market will. Eventually, it will always undo you if you've got any weak points, especially with risk. Because it's just, that's what it does. That's the job of the market. Eventually. You'd come this far, why didn't you just use one more card? Poor guy though. But it is what it is, isn't it? If you're willing to put yourself in that position and expose yourself like that to the potential market moves that's happening, then you will get undone. You can never be all in on anything as a trader, I don't think, really. Like that. I mean, that was just crazy to me. Poor guy. And that's when you see, Walter. You know Walter on Twitter, don't you? Like, that for me is a similar type of thing that Walter does. He's just selling the euro every day. He sells the euro every day with no stop. And when it goes up, he just adds more. Brilliant. Great plan. But what's going to happen one day is he's going to get absolutely laid out. Laid out. And all the people that are following him, copying him, trading, they'll all get laid out too. So Walter's the same. Walter's a similar type of trader. Don't know if anybody knows him on Twitter, but Walter says he's an ex-bank trader, but all he does is short the euro with no stop. So similar type of thing is going to happen to him eventually. Because it's impossible that you're going to be 100% right 100% of the time. So he's going to get mowed down. I think the guy might be a millionaire on Bitcoin if it's the right guy. I think he invested in Bitcoin and he's a millionaire now. I think it's Bitcoin, Sierra, I think. Off the top of my head, if it's the right guy. Bjorn, morning Bjorn, but Bjorn. We call it picking pennies up in front of a steamroller, Walter. Yeah, it's one of them. I just feel sorry when that Euro finally goes, and it will do one day. Will he turn long? I don't know. I don't think he will do. Yeah, he puts that Ichimoku on the screen for a sort of false thing to throw people off what he's doing. He doesn't use it. I know that because I know people who've done his course. And that kills me. He's like 28 lots short the Euro. He must be down like thousands of dollars. And then he's like off out mentoring. It's like, I'm just like, when I see these, he's blocked me, by the way. He's blocked me. He didn't like what I did to him. He used to always say he was trading inside the window, and I tweeted a picture of him out inside like a UPVC window, looking like this like guru, like, and it was just dead funny. And he blocked me straight away. But I thought it was really funny, because what does it even mean, trading inside the window? What is that? It doesn't make any sense to me. It must be like ex-bankers talk. Maybe Mikos could tell us what that means. But yeah, he's always like, I'm trading inside the window. What, like you're 28 lots short of the Euro and you're doing your arse? But like all the people that you see it underneath who are replying to him, they're all with him. Like they're all with him. They're all short of him. And he's demo. Classic though. Walter's so funny. I follow him on my burner account that I've got. Keep an eye on him because he does make me laugh. His name's Walter Vanelli, Ed. Have a look at him. He's a trade mentor from Italy, but he like get himself 30 lots short of the Euro with no stop, and basically then he says in the next breath, I'm off out for mentoring, and like it's just beyond me. It's like, what? How is this even possible that people are willing to like pay somebody to trade with no stop, who just keeps getting short the Euro every day? Like, what are they even thinking? Have a look at him. He's quite a funny guy, though. I don't think he's... is he a scammer or not? I don't know. I really don't know. But apparently he was in the dealing rooms in, like... like... I think he's in BNP... I think he's in, like, quite a few banks, Credit Suisse, stuff like that. He was like, in the dealing room, so I've heard. Like, moving big amounts of FX around. I don't know if he's a scammer or not. I don't know. Maybe he was back in the day. Maybe that's just how they try. I just don't know. I really don't know with him. And coffee, he just loves going out for mentoring and coffee all the time. But he's barred me, so he blocked me a long time ago. I was just trying to have fun with him. I wasn't actually trying to be a dick. I just thought he was quite funny. A little bit like Footsie Day, really, back in the day. Like, I thought he was really funny because I just like to have fun with them. But obviously they don't like the banter. I think he's a really funny guy. He looks like Austin Powers on his profile picture. Like Austin Powers, Mike Myers, the spy who shagged me, when he's got the big thick glasses and the curly hair, and I imagine him to have like a dead hairy chest. He looks like a little Italian dude, and I just think he's really funny. I love how he tweets out and shit, and I really enjoyed following him, to be fair. So I had to set up another burner account to follow him. Mikos, his name is Walter Vanelli. Let me see if I can get him up and put it across. So see if I can do it. Oh no, I can't do it because he bloody blocked me and I haven't got my burner account set up on Twitter on the desk app. It's on my mobile and I forgot my password. Walter Vanelli FX. You can find him on Google because he's got his own little Google thing. Because he's done a few interviews and stuff like that. Let's see if we can find him, so I can show you his picture because it's funny. He does look like. Here we go. Here we go. What a killer! Love it. Can you guys see that? This is him. This is Walter. Good old Walt. What a ledge. Doesn't he look like Austin Powers? He's like an older version of Austin Powers. And this is his Twitter feed with all these Ichimiku stuffs on, like indicators on and shit. I don't know. That's the guy anyway, guys, right? Yeah, Walter Vinali or Walter Vinali. He's on Twitter. You'll find him because he's heavily followed me. Cause he's got a big following. He's got a big following. The guys. I think he's got like probably. Let's just have a look on my burner. See what he's up to. I'll find him. This is the one that I follow Trader Skew on as well, by the way, and a few others that have blocked me. He's got 24,000 followers on Twitter, and it's Walter Vinali, W, Whiskey, Alpha, Lima, Tango, Echo, Romeo, Victor, Alpha, November, Alpha, Lima, Lima, and then I at the end. What the frick does I stand for in? Walter Vinali, with a double L and then an I. And it's FX mentor and professional Forex trader since 1982. So he's got years on you, Nikos. 24 years in the dealing rooms at BNA, Citibank, and Epta Funds. And he's the former chief dealer. And he's the guy that says, "Good morning, dealers." He's funny. He's funny. I love the shit that he comes out with. Trading in the trend at the moment, guys. Trading in the window. Out for coffee at this time and some mentoring. Here we go. 3 days ago. Good Friday, dealers. Euro US dollar bias up. Driven by Euro JPY at the moment. I'm on the window. Enjoy your day and coffee. Like, come on, man. What are you doing? He's on the window. What does on the window even mean? But when he did one of these, I tweeted a picture of him with his face at, like, inside this window, and he blocked me straight away. But he just gets massively short the euro. Maybe that's the right thing to do, I don't know. Maybe he's making more money than I am. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? I do not know. Where do you find these people? Twitter, right? Twitter is full of them. It just is. It's just full of them. It really is. Footsie Day was the best though. If anybody remembers him, he was the pinnacle. I would pay to be in his room just to have fun. He was the best. If anybody remembers that guy, what an absolute legend he was. Now he was an absolute scammer, but I think he meant well. But he was just so funny. He used to get so much shit on Twitter. It was unbelievable. He'd just average into the footsie and just be massively offside and then just like go missing for 3 or 4 days and nobody'd see him. And then like he'd be like go like 700 points offside on his 3 positions and then the market would come back in and 4 days later he'd like scalp out of one of them for 11 pips, he'd scalp out of the other one for 21 and he'd like scalp out the other one for 30. And he'd be 700 offside at one point and he's making like 12-6 or something on his first scale. He was unbelievable. But he was really funny. He was good. I miss that guy still. Footsie Day Trader, yeah. What an amazing dude. I used to love him. He used to get so much shit. It was unbelievable. Yeah, nobody's ever heard of Walter then, Mikos. That's definitely right. It wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if he was fraud. It really wouldn't. Check him out, Nikos. Follow him. See what you think. He's funny. Just gets short the euro every day, but he gets short the euro in the big I think he was like 35 or 40 lots short the euro. But his positions they don't make sense either, right? So he's not like, how can I put it right? If I was like systematically or at a bias that I thought the euro was going to go down against the US dollar, I would be scaling into it at like resistance points or swing highs. I wouldn't just be like oh, I'll just get 3 lots short here in the middle of the range. It's like, why would you do that? It's like, even at the points where, the technical points where you'd think like, right, you'd really want to be getting a couple of contracts on short here, because you're right into like a decent level. And, and if it was again, you're already done 15 lots short, and you're way offside. If you were going to like hit it, you'd be hitting it here now at this resistance level. He doesn't do that. He just like goes in anywhere as if it's like, totally discretionary, but totally in the wrong spots, where you'd think that anybody that had a certain sort of understanding of how like the thing would react off a certain level would be where they'd be taking it from. So strange. So that's how I know that I think that he's not actually trading it, because he just sort of like fires out entries anywhere. He's not even hitting him at the technical points where you'd think that, like you potentially get a decent entry on that. Because it's fair enough if you're averaging in, but you've still got to average in at the technically right points, surely. And then like the market will go up another 50 or 70 ticks on the ones he's taken. He'll be like massively offside. It's like, well, if you would have just hit it at resistance where it is now, you wouldn't have had to take any of that pain. I don't know. I've seen way higher, Jesper, way higher. I think he had 37 lots on once. 37. Over like a massive amount of space as well, though. So it wasn't like he'd got 37 on from like as it went into resistance at 119. They like started off from like 114, and then like he'd got 5 on there, 5 on at 115, 10 on at 116, another 10 on at 117. It's like, is this guy for real? It's like crazy. Maybe he makes money. I don't know. It's not something that I could say that I know for definite he does or he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe that's just how he trades. But how the hell anybody can do that is beyond me. He must have a huge account even to be doing that type of sort of position size. It must be massive. Yeah, if it's part of his strategy, Jesper makes a good point. If it's part of his strategy, then it is also fine, right? But what I know for a fact is when he teaches you, he doesn't teach you that strategy. Because I know somebody that's been taught by him, and he doesn't actually trade that. He doesn't teach you that part of his strategy. So what you see him doing on Twitter isn't what he's actually teaching people when they go for mentoring with him. Yeah, exactly. Aaron makes a good point, to be fair. The mental discipline to take the loss when eventually caught is enormous. Yeah, I imagine. It is huge. Conscious trading, never understood as well why people put emojis in front of their lot sizes on Twitter. I think that's more to the point though, because you don't. I think their conscious trader for me is, you don't want people knowing your account size really, especially if you are a legitimate trader. For me, I wouldn't want people seeing my account size on my normal account. I don't think I'd be okay with that. One, because people know how much capital you've got, and two, you know what? You don't know who's following you, do you? You genuinely don't know who's following you. You know, like in today's age, if somebody knows who you are, especially if you're online a lot, and you're using your own name and stuff like that. Like if somebody sees that you've got like, I don't know, 200 grand or however much money you've got, like people can come through your door for that. Like I know people who've sold cars and stuff like that, where people have come through the door, they've sold a car, had it on YouTube. People have come through the door for it. Like just by advertising it, they've watched them, they've seen that they're not threatening, they're not like, they're probably just a normal couple. And if they come through the door one night, they're going to get the keys and they're going to take the car. I think that's similar with trading. If people know that you've got a big account or you've got a few quid and you're online and people can see what you're trading, what your account size is, like your lifestyle, stuff like that, you've got to be very careful. So I just think that's a big thing with it as well for me. Now, obviously, in prop and stuff like that, it's different, isn't it? Because everybody can sort of see each other's accounts and stuff like that. But when you're putting stuff online, you do not know who's watching, and there's some very unscrupulous characters about. I think I remember a story of somebody that was doing it with Bitcoin, and they come through their house front door and made them empty the Bitcoin wallet because they were putting out online that they'd made loads of money with Bitcoin. I think it was like 2017 or 2018. Now gangs were going round looking for that, tracking you down, working out where you lived, and coming through your door, taking your Bitcoin. They probably would come through your door in Stoke-on-Trent for 100 quid. Yeah, and I suppose there is that part of it as well, Dave. But for me personally, I think you do not want. It's like I'm thinking to myself, right? So think about it from my perspective. Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, like, even with this IG thing here, I'm thinking like this is what I was risking. I'm thinking to myself, like, could somebody work out what my account is and try and log into it? You know, and get into my account and empty it out into their account. All things like this goes on in my head. You know, like, because online it's so shady. There's so many things that can happen. Like, I'm thinking to myself, right, so with my Apple Mac there, nobody can see what, like, my account is, the name of my account, the account number, stuff like that. Because I've wanted to show people, go into my trade analysis, right? So with IG, this is something that I'm aware of, because I'm definitely aware of this, and you think you've got to be if you're online on YouTube and stuff like that. But on IG, if you go into your top box over this right corner, you get something called trade analytics, where it shows you how long you've been in a trade, how much you're winning things. It gives you, you know, your equity graph, your account bars of wins and losses, stuff like that. But right next door to it, because I would show you guys, right next door to it is my account number and also my account details. So I'm thinking to myself, there is no way, there is not a cat and howl's chance that I can go over there and show that live. None. Because my actual account details are right next door to it in the next box on the screen. So like I'm thinking, like somebody could try and get into my account. They could try and break into my account, password sort of spam my account and get into it. And could they empty it? Could they even press could they do some sort of sabotage where they pressed the trade and got long if they were like unscrupulous sort of guru out there that was trying to get me back? I don't know. All these things go through my head. You've got to be careful, especially if you're putting yourself out there online. You really have, in my opinion. Because same as say, guys, big numbers, big money in accounts, stuff like that. If people think you've got a few quid, you know, in today's day and age, you only have to walk down the road with a Rolex on or a nice watch on, and you're gonna get your arm cut off, or you're gonna bloody have your head, you're gonna get stabbed or, you know, mugged or something like that. So you just got to be careful. You really have, because same as say, you gain nothing from that, don't you? You know, like, what are you gaining from showing people that? You're gaining nothing. Like if you're not like you know, like, yes, you could probably still have your results published and stuff like that, percentage wise, and you could have all that accredited, but the actual numbers themselves, if somebody can make money with 10 grand or 100 grand or £1,000,000, do the numbers mean anything? I think they probably do. To me, I would much prefer to learn off somebody who's trading £1,000,000 than making money with 10 grand. Why? Because obviously that's where you want to be, isn't it? So maybe that would help, seeing their lot sizes. But I could understand why somebody was trading £1,000,000 or, you know, or even 100 grand that isn't putting that out there for people to see. Yeah, that's the thing. You get a 3 a.m. visit off somebody and it's gone. And that's it, it's done. And it's even if people know you've got a few quid with your trading, right? They might not come and bang you on the head and say, I want you to empty your IG index account into your bank now and then I want some of the money. But it's the whole thing of knowing you've got a few quid in it, if you have. You just got to be careful. Probably gaining nothing from it, really, for me. Put it this way, right? If I was trading with £1,000,000, there is not a cat and howl's chance that I would have my position size and my account size online in any way, shape or form. It just would not be on there. And you could argue, well, that's sort of hiding it. But at the end of the day, like, what are you gaining from it? You know, fair enough if you're teaching people and you've got all courses and stuff like that. From when you're mentoring them, you could show them. You know, like if they were coming to an educational sort of thing with you, where they spend a few days with you or whatever, you could show them your account sizes. Fair enough. But to actually publish it online that you've got that type of dough going in and out of your account with them lot sizes and that amount, you know, and you're flaunting wealth on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, why would you do that? I just don't understand why you'd do it, because the risk for me would be massive. Yeah, it hasn't. I don't know how Astro live in London and go around parading it that they've got 20 grand per tack for Philippe watches on. You know, I think Sean Lee was in Dubai buying a Rolex for like 20 grand, and then he's walking around London in it, like, massively surprising. And I'm not wishing it on them, because obviously that would be awful, even though they are scammers completely. I wouldn't wish them getting mugged for, you know, that'd be awful. But that surprised me, like how that hasn't happened, because you know what London's like, it's terrible. And they're like actively going round on social media with a massive following, you know, like promoting that they've got a few quid, like more than a few quid really. They're promoting that they're living like a footballer's lifestyle. That would worry me. It would massively more worry me. Like if he's in Tape, or if wherever he is, I think he goes Tape, that nightclub or whatever, I wouldn't want to be wandering around London in the middle of the night, because somebody will recognise him one day and they will just take it all off him. I hope it doesn't happen though. I hope it doesn't happen to them, because obviously that would be bad. But I'd be very worried. There is. I think it probably would. It is the same risk as that, but I think when you're actively promoting it on, like, lots of people live in a nice house in a nice area, and they're normally surrounded by other people that live in nice houses in nice areas, aren't they? And 100k cars now, like, they're all flags, aren't they? I agree with you, but I think to actively be promoting it on social media where you don't know who's following you, who's really watching you in depth of what your movements could be, and also providing your movements like they do, like, it's like, you know where, like, I know where Astro are more or less every day because I've followed them on social media. So I think, like, if you it's all the promotion of where they are, what they're doing every day. That would worry me. I wouldn't want to do that. Like, fair enough if they're promoting the lifestyle. It's like footballers, isn't it? For instance, right, Premier League footballers. This is a good point. Premier League footballers, when they go, when do they tend to get robbed? When they're in Europe on the Champions League nights. You always hear of it, don't you? Like, John Terry's been done, Wayne Rooney got done. Like, people know, because they're watching them. They know that they're playing in the Champions League in Germany Wednesday night. Wayne Rooney is not going to be at home. His wife and kids probably are, and that's when they come for you. That's when they go and find, like, you know, they know that you're not there to protect your family. They come through your front door. It happened to Steven Gerrard, and that's the thing with social media. You know, like, people can work out what you're doing. They work out where you are. Like, they sort of get away with knowing way more than what they would if they just drove past your house and they didn't know what you did or who you were. They know who you are, your habits, what size you are, how you look, if you look like you could be aggressive, or, you know, like, they can work it all out from what you're actually giving them for free on social media. You've got to be very careful. Yeah, I think there's a difference between. At the end of the day, though, Dave, they've still got to pay for them, haven't they? You know, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know, and I get your point about not looking at someone's car from a measure of wealth, right? But they still, even if you lease them, they're still costing you $4,000 a month per car. You've still got to have some, you know. And then you've got to live your lifestyle as well as having these cars that are paying the big dough out. So obviously they are earning money. And you could argue, would you be doing the right thing by investing 250 grand in a Lambo and buying it outright? With the interest rate how it is today, you're probably better off leasing the thing, aren't you? Really? You could do way more in the society that we live in economically at the moment. With that 250 grand, what are you going to do with it? Stick it in the bank? Or put it in a stock account, or put it into a fund, buy some crypto with it, invest it in property, similar to what we were talking about the other day. You could probably earn more money to pay for the Lambo by not buying the Lambo in today's sort of economic market. I would suggest by buying it outright, you might be doing the wrong thing. That's how warped everything is. That really buying things outright now is probably the wrong thing to do. In my opinion, with all the interest rates how they are. What's this about a strip club in Shoreditch? You only buy second-hand cars. Mikos, what car have you got? What do you drive? Interested. Just want to delve into it a little bit. What car do you have? Buying a brand new car feels like such a bad trade to me. It does to me, pal. I always buy sort of from BCA myself. But that's because of my history of what I used to do. But what do you drive at the moment, dude? I know I don't want to obviously get personal, but I'm just wondering, what does a trader who's slinging 50k around in the first 3 days of the month, a real trader, what car have you got? Audi Q5. Oh yeah, nice. I love them. Awesome. Lovely. They're a good tub, they are. They had a few problems with the DSG gearbox back in the day when they first come out, but they're alright now. I really like the SQ5 I do. I think they're lovely. You can't beat an Audi Q5, to be fair. They've got a bit of everything, haven't they? Don't know if I would have had a petrol one, though. For me, I'd always go for the diesel, but I suppose if you're doing city driving around London and that, it might make sense to have a petrol one. And you're not doing loads of miles, you're probably going to get... it's probably going to work out overall more cost effective. SQ5 would be nice, but too sporty for the missus. Yeah, they do go pretty well, don't they? The SQ5s, I like them. I do, especially the new ones with the square steering wheel on the bottom and the all of the embroidery on the seats. They're really nice. Hate diesels. Loving the chat in here though, guys. This morning, it's good. See what this DAX is doing. going now, Dave? Yeah, I'm going to get off myself in a minute, chaps, to be fair. In the champagne bar above on a Friday afternoon, my mate fell asleep and ended up in Dover. Thank God there was no Eurotunnel in them days. Oh, you legends must have smashed it back in the day. Mark Wogan's asking Nick and Aaron, saying he's got a friend called Steve Beck, question mark. It's been a good talk this morning, guys. I've enjoyed it. It's been interesting. Some really good points made. And it's good to see all of these city ledgers and what they used to get up to. Sounds like it was a blast. Cup of tea time for you, Ed. Thanks for checking in, pal. Sort that risk out, pal. Get that risk sorted, Ed. Good luck to you, though. See you tomorrow, hopefully. End of the 80s. Hey Mark, by the way, I had a quick look at that NASDAQ thing again. I think I was confused of what you were saying though. Hope it didn't sound like an absolute mug. To be fair, because I don't know if I got the wrong end of the stick basically. But I think what you're saying, there's definitely something in that. Definitely. No worries, Ed. Take care, mate. Have a good day. Take care, pal. Right, guys. I'm going to call it a day in a minute. It would be good, wouldn't it, if we could get a night out or something like that, or a day out where we could meet up and do something. It would be good to all go get a beer somewhere down in London. I'm sure it would. It would only be positive, I'm sure of it. I'll just let you finish off chatting and I'm going to go. Is everybody done then, guys? Good luck. Right, okay, thanks, Mikos. Brilliant. Have a good day. Good luck to everybody and hopefully see you all back here tomorrow. It'll have to be a bit of a short one tomorrow though because I've got something lined up. Awesome, good stuff. Nice one, Mark. Thanks for sending it over as well, mate. Cheers, guys. Yeah, I would love a meet-up. I think we should do. It'd be good. Definitely. It'd be good to touch base, wouldn't it? Face to face for everybody and see everybody's faces behind their usernames. So maybe we could get something sorted. And it's coming into the right time, isn't it, now, up to Christmas, where we could potentially do something like that. So we'll have a think about it and get something sorted, because it would be good. Angela's in. Awesome. Awesome, let's do it. I think it'd be good. It would be good. Because same as I think we've got a bit, good group here, and it'd be good to touch base with everybody. It could only be a positive. I don't think there'd be any negative by it anyway, so maybe we should have a look into it. See if we can get Tom and Mikos out as well. That'd be good. Alright, but thanks guys. See you tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have a trade for you as well, hopefully, or some account movement at least anyway. Bring it north, Newcastle. I think it's going to have to be down in the big smoke trainer market, to be fair. I think that's where most of them are from. No, not another hospital appointment, Angela, no. Nothing like that. I've got to just nip out tomorrow morning. Oh, Aaron's from Newcastle Trend the Market. There you go, guys. Aaron, you're on Twitter, aren't you? Maybe you should hook up on Twitter, guys. I think I follow Trend the Market and Aaron anyway, so have a look. But yeah, have a good day, everybody. Take care. Thanks for stopping in, and we'll hopefully get something sorted. See you later. Take care. Bye.